Let me show you something that will change how you see every room you ever enter again. There is a game being played around you. It has been played your entire life. You have been losing it every single day, and you did not even know you were a player. The game has no name. No one talks about it. But every human being on earth is playing it. Every moment, they are in the presence of another person. Here is how it works. The moment you walk into a room, any room, every brain in that space runs an ancient program. It is not conscious. It is not chosen. It fires automatically, in the first fraction of a second, before you speak, before you smile, before you do anything at all. The program asks one question: what is this person's position in the hierarchy? Not what is their job title. Not how much money do they make. Not are they nice. What is their position? Are they above me, below me, or irrelevant? Are they someone I need to pay attention to, or someone I can safely ignore? The answer to this question shapes everything that follows. How people listen to you, whether they respect your ideas, how much space they give you, whether they remember your name, whether they want to know you, work with you, follow you. And here is the part that should disturb you. You do not get to answer the question. Your body answers it for you, without your permission, without your knowledge, often against your interests. Right now, today, your body is answering that question wrong. It is telling rooms full of people that you are lower status than you are. It is broadcasting signals that say, I am not important, I am not confident, I can be dismissed. You have been sabotaging yourself in every interaction, every meeting, every conversation, and you had no idea. Until now. In 2006, researchers at Princeton conducted an experiment that should terrify you. They showed subjects photographs of faces, not for minutes, not for seconds, for 100 milliseconds, 1/10 of a second, a literal blink. Then they asked the subjects to judge those faces on competence, leadership ability, trustworthiness, dominance. Here is what they found. The judgments made in 100 milliseconds before conscious thought was even possible predicted real-world outcomes. They predicted who would win elections. They predicted who would be hired. They predicted who would be followed. 100 milliseconds. That is how long you have. Not to make a good impression, not to show your value, to be categorized, filed, sorted into a mental box that will shape every interaction that follows. And the categorization is almost never updated. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for explaining why. The brain has two systems. System 1 is fast, automatic, emotional. System 2 is slow, deliberate, rational. System 1 makes the snap judgment in that first 100 milliseconds. System 2 is supposed to check the work. But System 2 is lazy. It does not want to spend energy questioning System 1. So it takes the initial judgment and rationalizes it instead. It finds evidence to confirm what was already decided. It ignores evidence that contradicts. This means the verdict delivered in the first 1/10 of a second becomes self-reinforcing. The room decided what you are before you opened your mouth, and everything you do afterward gets filtered through that initial decision. If they decided you were low status, your good ideas sound less convincing. Your confidence looks like arrogance. Your contributions get forgotten. If they decided you were high status, your mediocre ideas sound profound. Your silence looks like wisdom. Your name gets remembered. Same person, same words, completely different reception. The game was over before it started, and you were never taught the rules. So what is the body saying in that first 100 milliseconds? This is where it gets dark. Charles Darwin wrote a book in 1872 called The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. He documented something that scientists have confirmed ever since. There is a universal language of the body that transcends culture, transcends time, transcends conscious awareness. Every human being can read this language. No one is taught it. It is hardwired, installed at birth, running constantly beneath conscious thought. And the language has one primary function: threat assessment. Your ancestors survived by quickly determining who was dangerous and who was prey, who was dominant and who was submissive, who needed to be respected and who could be exploited. The ones who read these signals correctly lived long enough to reproduce. The ones who misread them got killed. You are the descendant of 100,000 generations of expert body language readers. The skill is in your DNA, and it is running right now in every person who looks at you. They are not consciously thinking, does this person's posture indicate high or low status? They are feeling it. An automatic sense, a gut response, a verdict that arrives fully formed, without deliberation. Gavin de Becker wrote about this in The Gift of Fear. He trained security professionals, people whose job was to identify threats, and he found that the experts did not think their way to conclusions. They felt them. Their unconscious mind processed hundreds of body language signals instantly, then delivered a single output: dangerous or safe, important or ignorable, threat or non-threat. This is what happens when you walk into a room. Every person there runs a threat assessment program on you, not consciously, automatically, and the program produces a verdict based on signals you do not know you are sending. The question is, what verdict are you producing? Let me tell you what low status looks like to the ancient brain. It is not about clothes. It is not about height. It is not about facial features. It is about compression. The low status animal makes itself small. It pulls its limbs inward. It protects its vital organs. It avoids taking up space that might provoke a challenge from someone higher in the hierarchy. This is not metaphor. This is biology. Every mammal on Earth displays this pattern. When you feel uncertain, your shoulders curl forward, your chest caves, your arms cross or tuck, your legs press together. You are not deciding to do this. Your body is running ancient software, preparing for an attack that is not coming, signaling submission to threats that do not exist. But every person in the room reads the signal anyway. They do not think this person's shoulders are curved forward by 15 degrees, indicating insecurity. They feel something about this person seems weak. The judgment is instantaneous and confident. Now let me tell you what else signals low status. Speed. The low status animal moves quickly. It rushes. It is reactive, not deliberate. It moves fast because it does not control its own time. External pressures control it. Predators control it. Higher status animals control it. When you rush into a room, when you walk quickly, when you make rapid, jerky gestures, you are signaling that something outside yourself is dictating your pace, that you are responding to pressure, that you are not sovereign. The high-status animal moves slowly. It is never rushed. It has no predators. Nothing is chasing it. It moves at its own pace because its pace is the only pace that matters. Watch powerful people move. Really watch them. They are slower than you expect. Their gestures are deliberate. Their head turns are unhurried. They do not fidget, do not rush, do not scramble. This is not affectation. This is signal. And every brain in the room reads it instantly. There is more. The eyes. Albert Mehrabian conducted research at UCLA on how humans communicate. He found that in situations involving emotion and attitude, words account for 7% of the message. Tone accounts for 38%, and body language, including eye contact, accounts for 55%. 55% of what you communicate has nothing to do with what you say, and the eyes are the center of it. Low-status eye behavior looks like this: short glances, darting away, breaking contact downward, checking for reactions, scanning for threats. The low-status animal does not hold eye contact because eye contact is a challenge. To meet the gaze of a higher-status animal is to risk confrontation. When you look away first, when you glance down, when your eyes dart around the room unable to settle, you are broadcasting submission. You are saying, "I am not challenging you. I am not a threat. I defer." High-status eye behavior is the opposite. Steady gaze, slow blinks, breaking contact sideways, not down, holding eye contact a beat longer than comfortable. This is not staring. This is not aggression. It is simply the absence of submission. It says, "I am comfortable being seen. I have no reason to look away. My presence here is legitimate." The difference is subtle. A few hundred milliseconds of extra eye contact, a direction of breaking gaze, but the ancient brain reads it instantly and sorts you accordingly. Now I need to tell you something that will make you uncomfortable. Everything I have described so far, the compression, the speed, the eye contact, you are probably doing wrong. Right now, today, in every room you enter, not because you are weak, because you were never taught. No one sat you down and explained that your body is constantly testifying about your status. No one showed you that the verdict is delivered before you speak. No one told you that you have been losing a game you did not know existed. So you optimized for the wrong things. You worked on what you would say. You prepared your arguments. You rehearsed your talking points. And then you walked into rooms and delivered your brilliant words from a body that was screaming, "Ignore me." This is why people who are less intelligent than you get promoted over you. Why people with worse ideas get more traction. Why you can be right and still be dismissed. They learned the game. Or they stumbled into the right signals by accident. Either way, their bodies are testifying in their favor while yours testifies against you. But here is what Machiavelli understood that most people never learn. The signals can be engineered. Machiavelli spent 14 years as a diplomat for Florence. He met kings, generals, popes. He watched men rise and fall. He studied power the way a scientist studies nature, not how it should work, but how it actually works. And he noticed something about the men who commanded rooms. They were not all tall, not all handsome, not all loud, but they all did something with their bodies that changed how others perceived them. He wrote about meeting Cesare Borgia. Borgia was young, not particularly large, and had a face scarred by disease. By any objective measure, he was unimpressive. But Machiavelli reported that being in his presence was terrifying. Borgia moved slowly. He spoke rarely. He held eye contact without flinching. He took space without apology. Borgia understood something that Machiavelli would later write about in The Prince. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. The appearance is what matters. The signal is what gets read. Reality is secondary to perception, and perception is shaped in the first 100 milliseconds. Borgia engineered his perception. He practiced the signals until they were automatic. The performance became the person. This is not about faking confidence. That is the wrong frame. This is about overwriting bad software with good software. Your body is running programs that were installed by years of habit, by social conditioning, by experiences you have forgotten. Those programs are producing signals that work against you. You can install new programs. You can change the signals. You can engineer the verdict that rooms deliver about you. But I need to show you something darker first. Let me tell you what the people who naturally own rooms understand that you do not. They know the game is rigged. They know that merit does not matter until after the verdict is delivered. They know that fairness is a fantasy that losers believe in to comfort themselves, and they exploit this ruthlessly. The person who commands a room is not playing a different game than you. They are playing the same game with better information. They know that the first 100 milliseconds matter more than the next 100 hours. They know that the body's testimony overrides the mind's arguments. They know that perception creates reality more reliably than reality creates perception. So they manage perception deliberately, strategically, without apology. This is what Machiavelli was actually writing about. Not morality, not ethics, effectiveness. What actually works in the world as it is, not as we wish it were. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few really know what you are." Read that again. Everyone judges by what they see, the appearance, the signal, the testimony of the body in the first fraction of a second. Few ever get past that to know what you really are, your true competence, your actual value, the real quality of your ideas. The game is rigged toward appearance, and you have been playing as if substance would eventually win. It will not. Substance is invisible until appearance gives it permission to be seen. This is not cynicism. This is physics, social physics. The laws that govern how humans actually perceive and respond to each other. You can rail against these laws. You can call them unfair. You can insist that people should judge substance over style. Or you can learn them and use them. Here is what the natural room owners do that you do not. They treat every room as a stage, not in a theatrical, try-hard way, in a strategic way. They understand that from the moment they are visible, they are being watched, and what is watched can be engineered. They prepare before entering, not rehearsing lines, rehearsing state. They take a breath. They expand their posture. They slow their internal rhythm. They enter the room already in the state they want to project, rather than hoping the state will arrive after they enter. They control the narrative of their arrival, the pause, the survey, the center path. These are not affectations. They are frame control. They are saying, "I am entering on my terms before any words are exchanged." They use strategic silence. They know that talking too quickly signals eagerness, which signals low status. They pause before speaking. They let silences hang. They make their words scarce, which makes their words valuable. They manage the eyes, not staring aggressively that signals insecurity needing to dominate. Holding steadily, breaking sideways, demonstrating comfort with being seen and comfort with seeing. They do all of this automatically because they practiced it until it was automatic. The deliberate became unconscious. The engineering became invisible, and everyone around them thinks it is natural charisma. A gift, something you are born with, or you are not. The truth is darker and more hopeful. There is no natural charisma. There is only training that became invisible. Practice that became identity, engineering that became truth, which means you can build it too. But there is a cost. The cost is comfort. The cost is the familiar feeling of your old patterns. The cost is the part of you that would rather stay the same and blame the world than change and own the results. Most people are not willing to pay this cost. They want transformation without discomfort. They want results without practice. They want to be different without doing different. These people will stay exactly as they are. They will continue entering rooms with bodies that testify against them. They will continue wondering why they are overlooked while others are respected. They will continue believing that someday, somehow, their merit will be recognized without them having to engineer the recognition. They are wrong, and on some level, they know they are wrong. That is why they keep searching for another video, another book, another piece of information that will finally make the difference. Information will never make the difference. Only practice makes the difference. Now let me show you what the new signals actually are. Let me show you something that will change how you enter rooms forever. There is a moment, a single moment, that disproportionately affects how a room perceives you. Most people waste it completely. They do not even know it exists. It is the threshold. The threshold is the boundary between outside and inside, the doorway, the entrance, the transition point. Most people cross the threshold without thinking. They walk in already focused on where they are going, what they are going to say, who they need to find. They blow past the most important moment and never realize what they lost. Here is what powerful people do instead. They pause, not a long pause, 1 second, maybe 2, just enough to exist in the doorway before moving through it. This tiny hesitation does something psychological to everyone watching. It frames your entrance as deliberate. It says, I am choosing to enter this space, rather than, I am being pulled into this space. It transforms arrival from something that happens to you into something you are doing. During that pause, you survey. Your eyes move slowly across the room, not searching desperately for a familiar face, not scanning anxiously for where to go, assessing, taking inventory of your territory. This is predator behavior. Prey rushes through transitions, trying to minimize exposure. Predators pause at thresholds and survey. Every brain in the room knows the difference. Then and only then you move, slowly, through the center of the space, not around the edges. Most people hug walls. They take peripheral paths. They stay out of the way. This is submission behavior. The low-status animal stays on the edges, where it will not provoke the dominant animals in the center. The high-status animal walks through the center because the center is its territory. It does not go around others. Others go around it. This entire sequence takes 10 seconds, maybe 15. But in those seconds, you have broadcast a signal that most people never send. I am here now. I am not apologizing for my presence. I expect this room to adjust to me. And rooms do adjust. That is the strange part. When you behave as if you belong, people treat you as if you belong. When you behave as if you are high status, people grant you high status. The signal creates the reality, but there is a problem. You can learn all of this intellectually. You can understand the science. You can memorize the techniques, and you will still walk into the next room and revert to your old patterns. Why? Because the signals are not produced by your conscious mind. They are produced by your nervous system, and your nervous system does not take orders from your intellect. Your nervous system has been programmed by decades of experience. Every time you felt uncertain and compressed, that was a rep. Every time you felt low status and looked away, that was a rep. Every time you rushed because you felt like you did not deserve to take up space, that was a rep. Thousands of reps, tens of thousands, all training your nervous system to produce low-status signals automatically, without your input. You cannot think your way out of this. You have to reprogram the nervous system directly, and there is only one way to do that. Different reps, Let me tell you something about how change actually works that self-help will never tell you. You cannot change yourself through insight. You cannot change yourself through understanding. You cannot change yourself through wanting to change badly enough. These are lies sold to people who want transformation without discomfort. Real change happens through repetition, only through repetition. The nervous system does not care what you know or what you want. It only responds to what you do, over and over, until the doing becomes automatic. This is why most people who read books about confidence are still not confident. Why most people who understand body language still have weak body language. Why most people who watch videos like this will walk into the next room exactly as they walked into the last one. Information without repetition is entertainment. Only repetition is change. And the repetition must be uncomfortable. If it feels natural, you are not changing. You are just doing what you have always done. The discomfort is the signal that you are installing new patterns over old ones, that you are fighting the existing programming. Most people avoid discomfort. They try something once, feel awkward, and conclude, that's not me. They mistake discomfort for wrongness. But discomfort is not wrongness. Discomfort is newness. And newness is the only path to difference. The question is whether you are willing to be uncomfortable consistently, over weeks, until the uncomfortable becomes comfortable. Most people are not. They prefer to stay the same and complain about the results. Here is what Machiavelli observed that modern self-help ignores. The men who commanded presence did not read about it. They did not understand it theoretically. They trained it. They practiced the movements, the postures, the eye contact until the practice was invisible, until it became reflex, until the performance and the person were the same thing. Cesare Borgia rehearsed. Before important meetings, he would practice how he would enter, where he would stand, how he would hold his body. He treated presence as a skill, not a trait. Something to be drilled, not wished for. This sounds pathological to modern ears. We want authenticity. We want to just be ourselves. But yourself is not some fixed essence. Yourself is a collection of habits. The question is whether those habits serve you or sabotage you. Right now, your habits are testifying against you in every room you enter. You can build different habits. You can install different patterns. You can become a different yourself, one whose body testifies in your favor. But it requires practice. Not understanding, practice. Let me tell you exactly what the practice looks like. Every morning, before you leave your home, you spend 2 minutes standing in an expansive posture, arms wide, chest open, taking up maximum space. Amy Cuddy's research at Harvard showed that 2 minutes in this position changes your hormonal state. Testosterone increases, cortisol decreases. The body starts to believe its own signal. This will feel ridiculous. Do it anyway. You are not doing it to feel powerful in the moment. You are doing it to teach your nervous system what expansion feels like, to make expansion familiar, to give it reps. Then, throughout the day, you practice in every interaction. When you sit, you expand into the chair, arms on both armrests, legs uncrossed, taking the space. When you stand, you widen your stance, shoulder width or more, grounded, stable. When you walk, you slow down by 20%. You feel the resistance. You move like time belongs to you. When someone speaks to you, you hold eye contact a beat longer than feels natural. You break sideways, not down. When you are asked a question, you pause before answering. 1 second, you resist the urge to fill the silence immediately. When you enter a room, any room, you pause at the threshold. You survey. You walk through the center. These are small actions. They feel insignificant, but each one is a rep, and reps, accumulated over weeks, overwrite the old programming. Let me tell you what happens when the programming changes. At first, nothing visible. The reps feel awkward. The pause at the threshold feels arrogant. The slower walking feels unnatural. You are running new software on old hardware, and there is friction. But the reps accumulate. After a week, the expansion starts to feel less foreign. After 2 weeks, you catch yourself holding eye contact without thinking about it. After a month, you notice that you walked through the center of a room without deciding to. The new patterns are becoming automatic. The nervous system is learning. And then something strange happens. You walk into a room you've walked into many times before, and you feel the response shift. A subtle thing, a head that turns, a conversation that pauses, a space that opens. The room is reading a different signal. The verdict is changing, not because you did anything special in that moment, because your body has learned to testify differently. The new programming is running automatically, producing high-status signals without your conscious involvement. This is what Machiavelli meant when he wrote that the prince must learn to be a great pretender and dissembler. He was not talking about lying. He was talking about this training the body to send the signals that serve you until the training becomes truth. The pretense becomes the reality. The practice becomes the person. The signal becomes the self. I need to tell you something before we finish. Most people who watch this will do nothing. They will find it interesting. They will agree with the science. They will think I should try that. And tomorrow they will walk into rooms exactly as they did today, compressed, rushed, eyes darting, body testifying against them. This is not because they are lazy. It is because change is uncomfortable. The first time you pause at a threshold, you will feel exposed. The first time you hold eye contact longer, you will feel aggressive. The first time you slow your walk, you will feel like everyone is watching. The discomfort is the point. It is the signal that you are doing something different, and different is the only path to different results. The people who command rooms are not more confident than you internally. They have simply practiced different patterns until those patterns feel natural. The discomfort came first. The naturalness came later. You have been practicing low-status patterns your entire life. You are an expert at compression, at rushing, at looking away. You did not feel discomfort doing those things because you have done them 10,000 times. Now you must do the opposite 10,000 times. And yes, the first 100 will feel wrong. That feeling is the old programming fighting the new. It is not a sign that you are doing something bad. It is a sign that you are doing something different. Push through. Let me leave you with something Machiavelli wrote that most people misunderstand. Fortune favors the bold. People think this means take risks, bet big, swing for the fences. That is not what Machiavelli meant. He was talking about presence, about how fortune, opportunity, luck, success flows toward people who carry themselves as if they deserve it. People who enter rooms like they belong there. People whose bodies testify that they are worth paying attention to. Fortune favors the bold because the bold broadcasts signals that attract fortune. They are not lucky. They are signaling in a way that creates luck. You can become one of them. Not by wishing, not by affirming, not by hoping that someday you will feel confident. By practicing, by drilling the patterns, by accumulating reps until the reps become reflex. The room is waiting. It has been waiting your entire life, waiting for you to send a different signal, to cross the threshold like you belong, to move through the center like it is your territory. to hold your body like someone worth watching. The game does not stop because you did not know you were playing. It runs constantly, in every room, with every person. But now you know the rules. Now you know what the body is testifying. Now you know that the verdict can be changed. Let me tell you what happens if you actually do this. If you practice for a week, you will feel awkward. The new patterns will feel forced. You will be consciously thinking about how you enter rooms, how you hold your body, how long you hold eye contact. It will be exhausting. This is normal. This is necessary. Conscious incompetence is the first stage of learning anything. If you practice for a month, something shifts. The patterns start to run without your constant attention. You catch yourself pausing at thresholds without deciding to. You notice that you held eye contact through an entire conversation without thinking about it. The conscious is becoming unconscious. If you practice for 3 months, other people start to notice. Not because you are doing anything dramatic, because you are doing small things differently, consistently, in ways that add up. Someone will tell you that you seem different, more confident, more present. They will not be able to explain what changed. They will just feel it. If you practice for 6 months, you will walk into a room you have walked into 100 times before, and you will feel the response shift. Heads turn, conversations pause, space opens. The room is responding to you differently because you are signaling differently. This is not magic. This is not visualization. This is not positive thinking. This is engineering. You are rebuilding the machine that broadcasts your status to the world, piece by piece, rep by rep, day by day. And machines that are built deliberately work better than machines that were assembled by accident. Your current presence was assembled by accident, by every moment of uncertainty that made you compress, by every social situation where you felt out of place and your body learned to shrink, by every time you looked away because you were not sure you deserved to hold the gaze. Accidents created what you are now. Engineering will create what you become. Let me leave you with something Machiavelli wrote that most people misunderstand. Fortune favors the bold. People think this means take risks, bet big, swing for the fences. That is not what Machiavelli meant. He was talking about presence, about how fortune, opportunity, luck, success flows toward people who carry themselves as if they deserve it. People who enter rooms like they belong there. People whose bodies testify that they are worth paying attention to. Fortune favors the bold because the bold broadcast signals that attract fortune. They are not lucky. They are signaling in a way that creates luck. Look at your life. Look at the opportunities that went to others instead of you. Look at the promotions, the relationships, the chances that seem to flow toward people who were not better than you, just different in some way you could not name. That way was this: the signal, the broadcast, the testimony of the body in the first 100 milliseconds. They got what you deserved because they signaled in a way that attracted it. And you signaled in a way that repelled it. This is not fair. Machiavelli would laugh at the concept of fair. The world is not fair. The game is not fair. The rules are not fair. But the rules are learnable, and you just learned them. Now the question is what you will do with the knowledge. Most people will do nothing. They will find this video interesting. They will agree with the concepts. They will think about trying the techniques tomorrow. Tomorrow will become next week. Next week will become next month. Next month will become never. And they will continue entering rooms with bodies that testify against them. Continue wondering why they are overlooked. Continue believing that someday their merit will be recognized without them having to engineer the recognition. They are wrong, and they will stay wrong. and their lives will reflect that wrongness in every missed opportunity, every overlooked contribution, every room that decided they were not worth noticing. These people are not your competition. They have already selected themselves out by choosing comfort over change. Your competition is the small percentage who will actually practice, who will feel the discomfort of new patterns and continue anyway, who will accumulate reps until the reps become reflexes and the reflexes become identity. These people are rare, rare enough that if you become one of them, you will stand out, not because you are special, because you did what others were unwilling to do. The room is waiting. It has been waiting your entire life, waiting for you to send a different signal, to cross the threshold like you belong, to move through the center like it is your territory, to hold your body like someone worth watching. Tomorrow you will enter a room. It might be your office, a coffee shop, a meeting you have attended 100 times before. That room is your laboratory, your practice ground, your first test. Pause at the threshold. 1 second. Survey like you are assessing territory. Walk through the center. Move slower than feels natural. Expand into the space instead of compressing out of it. Hold eye contact a beat longer than comfortable. Feel awkward. Feel arrogant. Feel like everyone is watching. Do it anyway, because they are watching. They have always been watching. They were watching when you entered rooms wrong for years. They will be watching when you start entering rooms right. The only question is what verdict they deliver. You know how the verdict is formed now. You know the signals that shape it. You know that the game was rigged against you, and you know how to rig it back. Change the signal. The room will follow. This is your cold awakening.